Welcome ESO community to my official Necromancer Malacath Mythic item PvP build. With this build you're going to be able to get into ultimate quickly, be tanky, good ultimate regeneration, great damage, good heals, and great sustain. Well, I would say more of a balanced sustain, more mediocre. If you want to go great sustain, you're going to have to drop the mythic item or run a different type of mythic item. With this one we're going to be utilizing the Malacath ring. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get into the champion points, enchantments, gear set, food, race, potions, morphs, all that good stuff, poisons. Anyway, let's get into it. The first set, Salvation. But with this set, or actually you can run any set besides Salvation if you like. I just picked Salvation because it's the easiest and most basic werewolf set in the game. People are pretty surprised when I link them this set and I beat them with it because they don't expect it to be as good, but it's actually very, very powerful if used properly. I know some really good werewolves who use Salvation still, and they do pretty well. Other sets you could run here could be Hulking, Spriggans, Venomous Smite, Briarheart. Well, you can't really run Briarheart with Malacath, but if you want to drop Malacath, you can run Briarheart. You can run Armor of Truth. You can run Titanborn, run Fury. You can run any good damage set here. Stamina or weapon damage or pen set. Nernhold as the main trait for the weapon. You can run Sharpen or Infused if you like. One-handed shield is what I prefer because it gives me the quickest ultimate. You can do dual wield or two-hander if you like, but I feel like it makes you squishier and the damage is not that much better. I mean, in my opinion it isn't. It's maybe for others it is, maybe, but I do perfectly fine with one-handed shield. Trait, impenetrable, and enchant, obviously Hakijo, tri-stat enchant. You need that for more resources for all three pools, but since you're going to be dropping up a monster set, you're going to be using a mythic item instead, so you want to be able to have much resources as possible. The poison I chose is entrapping poison. I wanted to try a new poison, like a snare poison, so I had a friend who gave me some poisons to test out, and these poisons are really good. Immobilize your victim for 5.5 seconds. I've actually stunned somebody or stopped them from moving with this, and then I stunned them right after with a fear, so it was like a double stun. So it's really, really powerful. It seems not to affect other CCs for some reason, so I don't know. It could be a bug, or maybe I'm just didn't see it right. You can run double dot poisons, you can run anything here if you like. You can even run an enchantment, weapon damage enchant, instead if you don't want poisons. Back bars, Asylum. This is an obvious two-hander for a werewolf. You need to run this on your back bar, up to a group of ads, execute them, or a player at low health. It's like a blood spawn proc too, so it just gives you 12 ultimate. A really, really powerful weapon. The head is a Eternal Figure headpiece. So as I said, we're dropping off the basic two-piece monster set and go this route. So impenetrable, and everything is going to be heavy except the waist. The waist is going to be medium, and everything is going to be impenetrable and Hakijo tri-statted out, except my shoulder, which I need to turn into a tri-stat in fact. But if you don't want to run the Moloch Kana piece, go ahead and put on a Damahos. This will give you max stamina and max magicka for a little more resources, but I kind of prefer the Kina for the 129 weapon damage. Salvation belt, like I said, so everything is heavy except one medium piece. I had to do this for the Malacath, so yeah, and it's really good. The build is really good. The damage is there. It's great. because my builds usually have low crit damage anyway, So it's just better to run straight flat damage than crit. Everything should be impenetrable, but I have one reinforced, that's okay. If you don't have everything impen, just make sure you at least get to 2,500 in your crit resistance. What does Eternal Vigor do? It gives you a bunch of resources, a lot of recoveries. It helps you sustain. With Salvation, it just cuts your ultimate lower, so you get to wolf a lot quicker. Tri-stat for the weapons and jewelry. Or triune, I would say. Except my Malacath. My Malacath is infused. So what Malacath does is increases your damage done by 25%, but you cannot deal critical damage. So it's just a flat damage increase, but it takes away your crits. So you can no longer crit people anymore. But it's like you're hitting a regular crit every time, so this is the way to go. And then triune on the other two pieces. And then if you want, you could run both. You can run all three infused if you want to have more damage. But I'd rather have more resources and then just one infused. But like I said, you don't gotta run Salvation. You can run Hulking or any other sets I named off earlier. Now let's go ahead and get into the skills. Well, first of all, I need to show you what foods and potions. B-Way Sugar Skulls are regular tri-stat. Both of them work fine. You can use either one. Sugar Skulls gives you more extra health recovery, so it might be more recommended. Potions, just try potions, immovable pots, detect pots. Anything that can replenish your resource pool is really good. But I prefer detect pots with night blades. Cloak ones, you really need it sometimes. But other than that, if you're just running regular by yourself and you're not encountering night blades, then tripods is the way to go. Alright, so let me go ahead and get into the skills. Oh, and Mundustone, by the way, guys. Mundustone is the Warrior, Tower, Lover, any of those Mundustones work. Any Mundustone you want. But I prefer the Warrior because I want to have more damage on the flat, more flat increase in the damage. So, Warrior's the way to go. Alright, human skills. Beckoning Armor, it just gives you, your typical increase in your physical and spell resistance. And while active, enemies that strike you with ranged attacks will be pulled towards you, so that's really cool. So you can activate this buff before you go into werewolf form, and if they shoot a ranged attack at you, they'll come directly to you and you can just burst them down real quick. It's pretty effective. Blighted Blast Bones, you kind of use this to kind of get your ultimate up, and it also puts the file on your opponents, so it's another corpse that you can use to pick up your ultimate quicker. And then Necrotic Potency. This is basically slaps the lingering life from fresh corpses, granting you 6 ultimate and healing 1187 health every 1 second for 2 seconds per additional corpse. This ability scales off your max health. And while slotted, your damage taken is reduced by 30%. Really good. Heroic Slash, you just use this to gain minor heroism, and you get close to your ultimate pretty quickly. And then Vigor. On your back bar, it's going to be Dizzy Swing, Critical Rush, which is a gap closer. This is your typical spammable here, Dizzy Swing. And then you have Spirit Guardian on your back bar, so you just cast this, switch back to your front bar, you're good to go. And then a bunch of corpses will drop on the ground, and you can build your ultimate back with the Necrotic Potency ability. And then you can run Executioner, or you can run Reverse Slice, either one. I think they both work with Asylum. If not, then just run Executioner. I run Rally, or you can run the other one, but I prefer Rally because it gives you a heal. And then I have Pestilence Colossus. You actually want to morph this, so if you can morph it. I think I think this is the morph one. Well, if it is, I don't know. But yeah, run that on your back bar, it's pretty good. But this is mainly a werewolf build, so it should be more powerful on your wolf. So this will be your front bar. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the werewolf skills themselves, because that's what we want to look at. If you look at the character sheet, it's just very basic. 4,000 weapon damage, basic recoveries. Goes up when you pop the tri potion. Your recoveries and stuff will shoot up, which is good. And then your your health recovery goes if you want to go to 50% if you're running Vigor. But yeah, very basic stats. Berserker because you have bleeds, and it will also be ramped up ramped up because you're running Malacath, which I could show you. For the Berserker, I picked it, and you see that your bleeds are 17,000, which can be way higher than that if you want to run more of a dot-oriented version. Like Venomous, it would be like 20k maybe. But with this build, you're kind of well balanced as well. You could run Pack Leader if you like. I think I prefer Pack Leader for more solo-oriented, but Berserker's just fine. Trust me, you can maintain Werewolf long enough to kill your opponent. But if you want to go Pack Leader, go ahead. What the Berserker does over the Pack Leader, the Pack Leader just makes you have increased time and make it a little bit tankier. But this one gives you more damage, and then it also allows you to have splash heavy attacks, which is really good for taking out people in front of you. So just do a heavy attack, you can hit everyone in a cone. So the first ability is Feral Pounce. We're using this because Brutal Pounce, yes, it does give you more damage, but Feral will keep you in Werewolf longer since we're not the Pack Leader morph anymore. So run Feral. Herstein's Fortitude, this is the stronger heal out of the two. Guys, I do not recommend Herstein's Rage. Don't run it. It's trash. It needs a buff. Until it gets a buff, I don't recommend it. But this one basically gives you a bunch of recoveries, and this portion of the ability scales off your max health, so the more heals you get off and stuff like that, your recoveries will stack. Deafening Roar, this puts maim, and it also basically makes you tanky, and then reduces people's resistances, and it also gives you Major Savagery, which will up your crit damage, but in this case we can't crit, so we'll be able to crit our heals more often, but we can't crit damage. But it will make them squishier. The other fear just increases your heavy attacks. I still think it's bugged because the heavy attacks are kind of just like trash. Like it only works on the second heavy attack still. I can't tell. I just always prefer Deafening. It just seems like the better one anyway. Howl of Agony, this is your spammable. It's like a dizzy swing but stronger. And you just fear a target and you hit him with a Howl heavy combo followed by Infectious Claws. With this build, they can die pretty quick if they're not ready for it, so I prefer Howl of Agony in this case. Claws of Anguish. This basically will give you Defile, Major and Minor Defile, if landed on a target that's not Argonian, and it basically gives you a bunch of disease damage. By the way, since you're running Malacath, even though it might say a 14,659 physical tooltip, it's a lot higher than that because of Malacath, but you have no crits. Just take that 14 right there and add an additional 25% increase on damage, plus the additional 25% when you fear opponent. So, yeah. So it's basically about 20,000 something if you take that additional 25% from the fear plus the Malacath. That's a lot of damage. So if you catch them with it just right, you can kill them pretty quick. And like I said, Berserker, because it gives you more damage. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the champion points. And at the end of the video, at the end of the build, I actually have some gameplay to show the build off. And I hope you guys enjoy my Malacath PvP Werewolf. It's basically kind of just like my Carry by Werewolf build. It's just a Berserker, but it's a Necro. And I also recommend being an Orc or an Imperial. They're probably the best races. And a Nord, actually. Nords are very good as well. They're very tanky. So Nords, Imperials, and Orcs, and Dark Elf. Dark Elves last because they have lower health. So they can't heal as much. Their heals are not as strong. So I prefer the tankier races, which is Orcs, Nords, and Imperials. But Orcs are not as tanky as an Imperial and a Nord. The most tankiest race out of the three is obviously Nord, but the one that heals the most, or has the strongest heals, is Imperial. So you have all three to pick from. But I think Orc gives you the most damage, obviously. I think it actually does, out of all 3 or out of all 4. So pick from all 3 of those races and you'll be fine, or 4 of those races you'll be fine. Whatever your preference is. Alright, so CP. A little bit different, but more damage oriented. 49 mighty to increase your damage done, which would scale off with Malacath. And then you got 63 piercing for your penetration, so you basically ignore people's armor, stack with major fracture. Plus exploiter, so if you knock somebody off balance, you would do an additional 10% damage. Perfect strike, your weapon critical will be higher, so you can crit your heals, because your mag heal actually is affected by weapon crit. And then opportunist. If you want to get last stand here, you can just flip your CP around. 81 master at arms to increase your direct damage, your dots, and your light and heavies. I think they're also affected by light and heavies now. So direct damage would be like your howls, your pounce, your initial hits. 77 physical weapon expert to increase your light and heavy attack damage. You want to amp those up a lot. And then you have tactician, so when you roll dodge an attack, you can set them off balance, you can hit them with heavy attack, and it stuns them, and then you can land a deadly combo if they're not quick enough to escape. And then you can got butcher if you get them low enough. Um, 84 Defile to increase your Defile. I think next patch though, Defile is being nerfed, so we'll have to see. We'll have to switch things around, but if not, keep it like this. And then 28 Tumbling for basically roll dodging more. 37 Tenacity, 37 Arcanist, 37 Mooncalf, and 20 Healthy. I did it this way because it's perfectly fine. You don't need to spam your heavy attacks as much, so you can take down from the. You can take a little less from your Tenacity and just put 37 in it. You'll be fine. 37 Arcanist, 37 Mooncalf, 20 Healthy. And the most important passive is Wind Running and Synergizer. 23 Warlord to basically reduce the cost of your break free. And then 4 on the Siphoner because I had no really else to put the point. So I put it into something that could be effective, but I don't think it really matters that much. 64 into Quick Recovery to increase your healing received. 37 Hardy, 37 Elemental Thinner, 37 Thick Skin. You don't need Unchained at all on this build, so Critical Leech, Spell Absorption, and Bulwark. Your resistances will be increased when you have a 1-inch shield on. 61 Ironclad to basically reduce incoming direct damage attacks, and then 34 into resistance to reduce critical damage. So that is it for the champion points and for the Malacath Necromancer Werewolf PvP build. So I hope you guys enjoy the build and the gameplay. Peace.
Kills me not to know this, but I've all but just forgotten what the color of her eyes were, and her scars or how she got them. As the telling signs of age rain down, a single tear is dropping through the valleys of an aging face that this world has forgotten.